Do you decide on a consistent, frequent basis throughout your days to choose your peace? Or do you consistently get triggered into chaos, into feeling unsettled, to trying to prove you're right or that someone else is wrong, and put yourself in quite the state to do so? We want to look at this with curiosity, as always. And sometimes there are things that are worth disturbing your peace for. But I just want you to curiously look for the next couple of days, weeks, whatever works for you, and just consider, especially when you're feeling triggered, um, or feeling, the felt feelings of um, frustration or um, just feeling off, however that shows up for you in your body and your energy field. Just notice, is there some way that you're not choosing peace for yourself, not choosing your peace? Sometimes standing up for yourself and choosing chaos in a moment might be a way that you choose peace in the long term because you're fighting to regain your peace. But so frequently we add to a story, add to the drama of what is going on around us to be right, quote unquote. Uh, Whether we are black and white right or not, or there's more of it's right from my perspective, but maybe not from someone else's. It doesn't actually matter. My point is, are you actively, continually choosing your own peace, or are you choosing chaos? As much as a lot of us would say that we want to feel at peace or happy, or at least just feel that we would want that kind of feeling of it, even if we haven't put words to it. We're so conditioned to fight. And that all comes back to us needing to stay in love and belonging with our community around us because, when we, in our earlier years, we had to stay in love and belonging with our family system, with an adult, a guardian, a parent of some form in order to survive. Because human babies cannot look after themselves. We needed that community to look after us when we couldn't look after ourselves. So that's when we coded that we must be right about surviving. We must be right about however we coded our survival to stay in love and belonging with that community, with those key adults in our lives, to keep us surviving and keep us safe, keep us alive. And honestly, our system is just wired for survival to the point that, like, if we survived, big tick, yay, you survived. So we can code that as survivable. And if we've got to do everything that way, because we know we survived that way, any other way feels scary to our system. Then we're going to keep doing that. And every time something feels similar, like a similar situation, we'll keep going with, oh, well, but our codes tell us, well, that's how we survive this. Even if those codes are actually leading to or setting up toxic ways of showing up, patterns that keeps us stuck. And maybe it's not that insidious or not that deep, but maybe these are self-sabotage behaviors that have been holding us back for years, that served us when we were young and we needed to stay in love and belonging to survive. But now, as a whole human being, we were a whole human being back then, don't get me wrong, but as an adult, a sovereign human being who's an adult, you maybe could safely choose differently. In fact, I dare say you can, and survive. And you don't need to be right all the time to survive. And you don't need to fight everything to prove that you're right all the time to survive. You can actually choose peace. Choose your peace of mind. Choose not to fight that argument. Especially like today we do it on the internet with random strangers. That it really doesn't matter at the end of the day for our direct in person lives most of the time as to us making a big argument on a comment section, you know? Like it's just we could read that, be triggered by something, and choose not to engage and choose peace. And look, there's times where you choose to engage because that's just that's just something you feel passionate about. And like that's okay, but just notice if you're continually not choosing the peaceful path. And to your own detriment, like just to the point that you're um then in flight or fight mode or just feeling triggered or just feeling off frequently. Sometimes it's better just to not look when it comes to things on the internet like that. Um, we've got to choose our peace, and honestly, the internet is not overall a peaceful place. um, ways you can choose your peace is, like not looking at your tech first thing in the day. Choosing to deal with your actual bodily needs, like using the bathroom, drinking water, brushing your teeth, feeding yourself, having a shower, dealing with all that before you let anything else distract you. Because we're getting really good at ignoring our bodily cues because they get in the way of us working or just scrolling or whatever it is. And in that way, we're not choosing peace for our bodies, our vessels, our one body that we get in this life. That's our responsibility to look after. And I'm clearly not saying this from a pedestal because I'm currently slightly under the weather and I need to go to bed, go to sleep as soon as possible because that's what my body's asking for. So it's just interesting to notice, and I'm just choosing to look at these things with curiosity. And I do think in recent years I've really chosen peace rather than the argument on a frequent basis. And don't get me wrong, I can really get into an argument, especially if it comes uh anything comes up to do with um misogyny, um and and it's also great when I choose peace. There's just it's up to us. We are the one human in charge of us. uh we are one human. Even if you have kids, like they still, like, obviously when they're younger you have more responsibility for them, but they still are the only ones that can control their thoughts and their actions. You can try and guide them, but they're the ones actually in control. So, and as they grow, they will be their own human to look after too. Doesn't mean they can't have support from their friends, family, loved ones as well. Um, and same with you. But we're so taught to outsource our worth that, and sometimes even the care of ourselves, to other people. Like we look for someone to complete you. Um, you're already whole and complete. You don't need anybody to complete you. Yes, it might be nice to have someone that walks alongside you and acts as a true partner and appreciates you and vis-a-vis, but you don't need it. You don't. Look, you might need it for the human race to survive if we want to procreate, but look, I feel like there's enough people out there, um, and as much as population, like birth rates might be lowering, I think there's probably too many people on the planet. So, um, whatever someone's sovereign choices as to whether they want to um, keep the human race going. I don't know how I got into this conversation. Anyway, but like that, I think they should just go for what calls them. Um, and sometimes, like the calling will be to actually adopt or, be a parent or a guardian in other ways. And or maybe it's that you like foster lots of animals. Whatever calls to you as to how you want to nurture future generations, whether it's humans or animals or um, plant life, or um, I just think everyone gets to be their own human and make that sovereign choice for themselves, and they're whole and complete on their own. And yeah, they don't need a partner or to have kids. Excuse me. To prove that they're worthy of something. Um, we're just already worthy. It's just as simple as that. Okay, I'm gonna leave it there before I internally um combust. Yeah, I'm not actually gonna do that. Those are very dramatic words. It's just time for me to have a relatively early night. It's not yet 10:30, so that's pretty good for me. So anyway, hope you choose your peace in many moments and just see how different you feel on the overall in the next week if you just keep deciding to choose your peace instead of going for the argument. Just like let someone do something a different way, um, if they're gonna do it, rather than trying to fight them as to your right way to do it. What if you just chose peace and let them do it in a different way? The results might be slightly different, but does it actually really matter, or can you just choose your peace? You know? Okay. Much love. See you tomorrow. Stay peaceful, y'all.